Your company card is canceled. Figure out how to get home yourself, loser. I read Brad's text message 3 times standing in that Mexico City hotel lobby. The marble floor felt more solid than anything else in my life right then. 15 years with Belmar Industrial, 15 years of missed baseball games, early morning flights, and building supplier relationships that made this company millions. And this is how it ends, a text calling me a loser. My name is Dustin Walsh. I'm 49 years old. I have a 16-year-old son named Cameron who was supposed to graduate high school in 4 days. His father was supposed to be there. Instead, I was stranded in Mexico with $47 in my wallet. I typed back slowly, "Thank you for letting me know." Then I found a bench near the lobby entrance and tried to figure out how to breathe. Let me back up and tell you how I got here. How a guy with 15 years of loyal service ended up reading that message, thousands of miles from home. I started at Belmar Industrial right after my divorce. Cameron was 3 then. His mother Linda got the house, I got the bills and a small apartment near the plant. The job paid decent. I coordinated with overseas suppliers for heavy machinery parts. Nothing glamorous, but steady work that kept food on the table and Cameron's college fund growing. My boss was Brad Donovan, 43 years old with an MBA from some expensive school, always talking about efficiency and cost optimization. Guy had never spent a day on a factory floor, but he knew all the business buzzwords. He got promoted to operations director 2 years ago. I still don't know why. The man couldn't tell a torque wrench from a socket set. Brad liked reminding me how replaceable I was. "You're not getting any younger, Dustin," he'd say. When I asked for time off for Cameron's games, "There are plenty of hungry young guys who'd love your position." I'd smile and nod. What else could I do? Cameron needed clothes, school supplies, money for college applications. So I swallowed every insult, every dismissive comment, every time Brad took credit for relationships I'd spent years building with suppliers across Latin America. 3 months ago, Brad called me into his office. "We have a situation in Mexico," he said. "Our precision parts supplier, the one who handles our main production line components, they're threatening to pull out." "Why?" I asked. "How should I know?" "That's your department. You deal with these people. These people, like Roberto Gutierrez and his family, were some kind of problem instead of the craftsmen who'd kept our machinery running smoothly for 8 years. I contacted Roberto that afternoon. His family ran a 3rd-generation precision manufacturing operation outside Mexico City. They made components for our heavy machinery, stuff that had to meet exact specifications. One bad part could shut down an entire assembly line and cost us hundreds of thousands. Roberto was frustrated when we talked. "Your company treats us like we are machines," he told me. Last year they demanded 15% cost reduction with no negotiation. This year they want faster delivery times. They never ask what we can actually do. They just demand. I understood completely. "Let me work on something," I said. I spent 2 weeks putting together a comprehensive proposal, better payment terms that would help Roberto's cash flow. Realistic delivery schedules based on actual production capacity, not Brad's wishful thinking. Guaranteed minimum orders so Roberto could plan ahead and keep his skilled workers employed year-round. Things that made sense for both companies if you cared about building something lasting. Brad barely looked at it. "Just go there," he said, waving the proposal away. "Go to Mexico City and fix this mess. Make them happy. That's what we pay you for." When I asked, "Next week you'll be there however long it takes," my heart sank. Cameron's graduation is coming up. I've already missed his junior year award ceremony because of the Denver trip. Your kid has family, doesn't he? His mother? Figure it out, Dustin. This is business. That night, I had to tell Cameron I'd be missing another milestone. He was doing homework at the kitchen table when I sat down across from him. "Dad, it's okay," he said before I could finish explaining. "I know you're working for my college fund. Mom can record the ceremony. That broke something inside me. This kid was more understanding than my boss would ever be. More understanding than I deserved after missing so much of his life for a company that clearly didn't value what I brought to the table." I flew to Mexico City on a Tuesday morning. The heat hit me like opening an oven door when I stepped off the plane. I took a taxi to the hotel Brad's assistant had booked. Nothing fancy, but clean enough. Budget accommodations because every dollar saved was a dollar Brad could show the executives. I met Roberto the next morning at his manufacturing facility. It wasn't what I expected based on Brad's dismissive attitude. Modern CNC machines, clean workspaces, skilled technicians who knew their craft. Quality control charts posted everywhere. This wasn't some fly-by-night operation trying to cut corners. These people took pride in their work, and it showed in every component they produced. Roberto was 58, gray-haired, with the calloused hands that come from decades working with metal and precision tools. His wife, Elena, managed the administrative side of the business. She brought me coffee and showed me their production schedules while we talked. "Tell me what you need," Roberto said. After we'd exchanged pleasantries, "I need you to keep working with us. I said honestly, but I also need to understand what's not working for you. We talked for hours that first day about specifications that kept changing without notice, about payment terms that squeezed their cash flow, about delivery schedules that ignored the reality of precision manufacturing, but mostly about respect. That word kept coming up in our conversation. Your boss, Roberto said carefully, choosing his words. When he calls, he speaks to us like we are children. Like our 30 years of experience means nothing. I nodded. I know. He speaks to me the same way. Elena looked at me with something like sympathy. Then why do you stay? Because I have a son to support, I said. College isn't getting any cheaper, she nodded. She understood what it meant to work for family, even when the work came with daily humiliation. Over the next 3 weeks, I built something real with Roberto's family. Not just a contract, a partnership based on mutual respect. I learned about their processes, met their team of skilled machinists, understood their capabilities and limitations. Roberto started insisting on something that seemed unusual at first. I want all future dealings to go through you, he said during our second week. Not your boss. Not anyone else. You understand our business, you respect our work. I'm just a coordinator, I said. I don't have that kind of authority. Then we write it into the contract, Roberto said firmly. All quality approvals, all specification changes, all communications go through Dustin Walsh. Otherwise, we don't work with Belmar. I didn't understand why he was pushing for this. Later, I realized Roberto saw what I couldn't see yet. He was protecting the relationship we'd built from people who would destroy it for short-term gains. Meanwhile, Brad kept messaging me at odd hours. Where's the signed contract? What's taking so long? I don't need excuses. I need results. I'd explained that building trust takes time, that rushing would ruin 8 years of partnership. He'd respond with threats about my job security and reminders that younger guys would kill for my position. Once, Brad insisted on joining one of my video calls with Roberto. It was a complete disaster. Brad interrupted constantly, made jokes that didn't translate, questioned Roberto's expertise, and treated him like he was trying to scam us instead of offering solutions to our production challenges. After Brad left the call, Roberto said quietly, "That man has no respect for anyone, does he?" "I'm sorry about that," I said. "Don't apologize for him," Roberto said. "You're not him." But I felt responsible anyway. I'd brought that toxicity into Roberto's workspace, into a relationship built on professionalism and mutual respect. Cameron's graduation came and went while I was still in Mexico City. I sent gifts through Elena's help. She knew where to find a good Texas Rangers jersey and some boots that would fit a teenage boy. When I video called Cameron that night, he tried to be upbeat about it. "Dad, it's fine," he said, but I could see the disappointment in his eyes. Jason's dad wasn't there either. His work sent him to Phoenix. "That doesn't make it right," I said. "You only graduate high school once and I should have been there." "You're working for my college fund," Cameron said. "I get it. Really." That made it worse somehow. This kid was sacrificing his own milestones to make me feel better about choosing work over family. Again, after 4 weeks in Mexico City, we finally had everything ready. A comprehensive agreement worth $15 million over 3 years. Enough precision components to keep Belmar's production lines running smoothly through 2027. Quality guarantees that protected both companies. Delivery schedules based on actual manufacturing capacity. Payment terms that showed respect for Roberto's operation and his skilled workforce. The signing was scheduled for Thursday morning. Roberto wanted to do it properly with his whole family and key employees present. His son Miguel had flown in from Guadalajara, where he was studying engineering. Elena had prepared a small celebration lunch. They treated this partnership like it meant something important to their family's future. I felt proud of what we'd accomplished. For the first time in years, I'd done something that mattered beyond just keeping my head above water. Wednesday evening, I was in the hotel lobby checking my flight home when my phone buzzed. Brad's message appeared on the screen like a punch to the gut. "We're cutting you loose. Your company card is canceled. Figure out how to get home yourself. Loser." I stopped breathing. Read it again, then again. No explanation. No warning. No acknowledgement of 4 weeks of work that had just secured $15 million for the company. Just those brutal words. I checked my card immediately. He wasn't lying, canceled. I had $47 cash and a return ticket booked through the company travel system. I didn't know if that was canceled too. 4 weeks away from home, missing Cameron's graduation, eating street tacos to save company money, taking buses instead of taxis, working 12-hour days to rebuild a relationship that Brad had nearly destroyed with his arrogance, and he calls me a loser. I typed back the only response that felt safe. "Thank you for letting me know." What else could I say? Anything more might give him ammunition for some legal action or damage my reputation in an industry where everyone knows everyone. I sat on that lobby bench for over an hour. People walked past, going about their business while my world collapsed. Businessmen in expensive suits heading to dinner meetings. Families returning from tourist excursions. All of them moving forward while I was stuck, trying to process what had just happened. I kept thinking about Cameron. How would I explain this? How would I get home? Would I have to call my brother Jason and ask for money? The humiliation of that felt almost as bad as Brad's text message. Then something shifted inside me. Not anger exactly, something colder. More calculated, I looked at my briefcase sitting on the bench beside me. Inside was a folder containing the unsigned contract, the one worth $15 million. The one that would save Belmar's entire production schedule for the next 3 years. The one Roberto had insisted could only be signed with me as the designated contact. I stood up slowly, walked outside into the warm Mexico City evening, found my way to the metro station and rode back to Roberto's facility one last time. It was dark by the time I reached the manufacturing plant. The production floor was quiet, but lights were still on in the office section. Roberto and Elena were there, finishing paperwork for tomorrow's signing ceremony. They looked surprised when I walked through the door. "Dustin," Roberto said, rising from his desk. "Is everything all right? You look, they fired me," I said. The words came out flat, matter of fact. "My boss sent a message this evening, said they're cutting me loose. He canceled my company card, told me to find my own way home." Elena's hand went to her mouth. Roberto's face went hard, the way metal looks when it's been properly tempered. "After everything," he said quietly. "After 4 weeks of work, after you missed your son's graduation to be here. Yes." Roberto and Elena exchanged one of those looks that married people share when words aren't necessary. Then he turned back to me with a question that would change everything. "The signing tomorrow," he said. "What do you want to happen?" That's when I realized what Roberto was really asking. He wasn't asking if the signing would happen. He was asking what I wanted to happen. The power was in my hands, not Brad's. "What do you mean?" I asked, though part of me already knew. "This contract," Roberto gestured to the papers on his desk. "It names you as the required contact person for all communications, all quality approvals, all specification changes. The company can only work with us if they work with you." The weight of his words hit me slowly. "But I don't work there anymore." "Exactly," Roberto said. "So why would I sign with them?" I stared at the contract language I'd helped draft weeks earlier. Roberto had insisted on those specific terms, and now I understood why. Without me, there was no deal. Brad had just fired the one person who could deliver the $15 million partnership he desperately needed. "They'll send someone else," I said. "They'll try to renegotiate the terms. Let them try," Roberto said calmly. "I won't work with them. My family won't work with them. We built this relationship with you, Dustin, not with that man who treats people like disposal equipment." Elena nodded in agreement. "We've been in this business for 30 years. We know the difference between someone who respects our work and someone who sees us as a problem to be solved." "What about other companies?" I asked. "You mentioned Titan Industrial has been trying to work with you." Roberto's expression shifted, became more calculating. "Titan has been calling us for 2 years, better prices, better payment terms, better respect for our production schedules. We always said no because we were loyal to Belmar, but Belmar wasn't loyal to you." Something loosened in my chest, a tension I'd carried for years without realizing it. "There's something else," Roberto continued. "Titan asked us last month if we knew anyone who could coordinate their international operations. Someone who understands manufacturing processes, someone with established relationships across Latin America." He paused meaningfully. "I have someone in mind now." My breath caught. "I can't. I need to get home. I need to find another job. Cameron starts college applications next year. You need to stop letting people treat you like you're worthless," Roberto said firmly. "This man fires you after 15 years of loyal service, and you want to rush home to find another boss who'll do the same thing. I have responsibilities. A son who's counting on me. This is you meeting those responsibilities," Elena said gently. "You built this relationship. You did the work. You have the expertise. Why should Brad benefit from what you created?" I stayed in Roberto's guest room that night. It was small and comfortable with a window that looked out over the manufacturing floor. Elena brought me dinner and we talked about her father's advice. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. I thought about that all night. About all the times Brad had shown me exactly who he was, dismissive, arrogant, taking credit for work he didn't understand. And how I'd ignored those signs because I needed steady employment. The next morning, Roberto made his calls. First, he contacted someone at Titan Industrial. I could only hear his side of the conversation. "Yes, this is Roberto Gutierrez from Precision Components Manufacturing. We spoke about partnership opportunities. Is that still something you're interested in exploring? Good. I have someone exceptional you should meet." Then came the call I'd been dreading. Roberto put his phone on speaker and dialed Brad's direct line. My hands shook slightly, but I kept my expression neutral. Brad answered on the second ring. Roberto, finally, I've been trying to reach you. Are we all set for this morning's signing? No, Brad, Roberto said calmly. We are not set. There will be no signing today. No agreement. Precision Components will not be working with Belmar Industrial. Silence. Then, what the hell do you mean? I mean, we're walking away. Precision Components is signing exclusively with Titan Industrial instead. Wait just a minute. Is this about money? Because we can negotiate? We can improve the terms. This is about respect, Roberto said. Something you clearly don't understand. Now hold on. I don't know what Dustin told you, but he's no longer with the company. That was a personnel decision. You need to deal directly with me now. Dustin told me you fired him, Roberto said, after he spent 4 weeks here building something valuable. After he worked harder than anyone I've seen to salvage a relationship you nearly destroyed with your arrogance. Brad's voice got tighter. That's an internal company matter. It has nothing to do with our business arrangement. It has everything to do with it, Roberto replied. Dustin was our arrangement. We negotiated with him. We trust him. We built this partnership based on his integrity and expertise. You just threw that away. You can't do this. We have a verbal understanding. I'll have our legal team review this. Review what? We have nothing in writing with Belmar, and now we never will, Roberto said. We're going to work with people who appreciate good relationships and skilled coordinators. Goodbye, Brad. He hung up. I stared at him, processing what had just happened. Did you really just walk away from $15 million? I asked. The money isn't walking away, Roberto smiled. It's walking to someone who deserves it. Someone who treats partners with respect. My phone started buzzing immediately, Brad calling over and over. I sent every call to voicemail. Then came the text messages. What did you tell Roberto? This is sabotage. You'll hear from our lawyers. You're destroying the company. I deleted each message without reading them completely. Then Brad tried a different approach. Dustin, let's talk about this. Maybe I was hasty yesterday. We can work something out. The company needs you. I blocked his number. Titan Industrial wanted to meet me that afternoon. Roberto arranged everything, including a car service to their Mexico City offices. After 4 weeks of taking buses and walking, riding in an actual company car felt surreal. The person who met me was Sandra Martinez, maybe 44 years old, with a confident handshake and intelligent eyes. Roberto speaks very highly of you, she said as we settled into her office. Tell me about yourself. So I did. I told her the real version about Cameron, about working at Belmar for 15 years, about building supplier relationships because I genuinely cared about quality and reliability, about being fired via text message while working overseas and yet choosing to be here instead of on a plane home feeling sorry for myself. Why, she asked. Why are you here instead of heading home? Because Roberto helped me realize something important, I said. I'm good at what I do, really good. And I'm tired of working for people who can't see that. Sandra leaned back in her chair. Roberto says you just negotiated a $15 million agreement. Is that accurate? Yes. Can you do that again for us? Yes, I said without hesitation. Then let's talk about what you need to make this work. No one had ever asked me that before, what I needed to make things work. Not what the company needed from me, but what would make this partnership successful for everyone involved. I told her about needing to be home for Cameron's college applications in senior year, about fair compensation that reflected the value I brought, about respect and trust instead of constant questioning of my expertise, about wanting to build something meaningful that would last beyond quarterly reports. Done, Sandra said. All of it. When can you start? I need to get home first, I said. See my son, explain what's happening. Make sure he understands this isn't another abandonment. We'll arrange your flight today. When you're ready to return, we'll cover relocation expenses, housing allowances, whatever you need. I left that meeting feeling like I'd stepped into someone else's life. Someone who got treated like their work mattered. The flight home to Houston was the longest 3 hours of my life. I kept thinking about Cameron, about explaining why I'd been gone for his graduation, about telling him that everything was about to change. Jason picked me up from the airport. One look at my face and he asked, what the hell happened down there? I told him everything during the drive home. He kept glancing at me like he was checking if I was real. So you just walked away from your job and now you have a better one. I didn't walk away, I said. They threw me away. I just made sure they couldn't benefit from what I'd built. Cameron was doing summer school homework when I walked through the door. He looked up from his laptop and his face lit up. Dad, you're home early. I sat down at the kitchen table across from him. Son, we need to talk about what happened in Mexico. I told him the truth about being fired via text message, about Roberto and Elena, about Titan Industrial and the new opportunity. about why I'd missed his graduation and how sorry I was for putting work ahead of what really mattered. "Are you okay, Dad?" Cameron asked when I finished. "You seem different, like relieved or something." "I'm better than okay," I said. "For the first time in years, I'm working for people who respect what I do." 2 weeks later, Belmar Industrial started reaching out through intermediaries. Someone from their legal department sent a message. "Brad would like to discuss your potential return. We're prepared to offer significant compensation increases and title adjustments." I wrote back, "I don't have a position to return to. I was terminated via text message while working overseas. Please don't contact me again." They tried twice more through different channels. I ignored them all. A month later, I was back in Mexico City, this time with Titan Industrial handling everything. Proper corporate housing, company car, travel schedule that guaranteed I'd be home every other weekend for Cameron's senior year. The work was familiar, building supplier relationships, ensuring quality standards, negotiating terms that made sense for everyone involved. But everything else was different. When I had ideas, Sandra listened. When I needed time for family events, nobody made me feel guilty. I helped Titan secure partnerships not just with Roberto's family, but with manufacturers across Mexico, suppliers in Brazil, specialty producers throughout Latin America. Each relationship was built on mutual respect and treated like it mattered. Cameron's attitude toward my work changed completely. "You actually seem to like your job now," he said during one of my weekend visits home, "like you're not stressed all the time anymore." "I'm working for people who value good work," I said. "That makes all the difference." 6 months after starting with Titan, their new production line launched. Every component was sourced through relationships I'd developed. The machinery performed flawlessly, exceeding all quality benchmarks. Orders poured in from clients who'd never worked with Titan before. Sandra called me into her office after the quarterly numbers came in. "Do you understand what you've accomplished here?" "I just did my job," I said. "You built us a supply network that our competitors can't match," she said. "These relationships you've created, suppliers who prioritize our orders, who meet our specifications consistently, who trust our company because they trust you, that's not just a job. That's competitive advantage." She offered me a promotion, Senior Director of International Operations, more money than I'd ever imagined making, full benefits, guarantee that I could work from Houston during Cameron's senior year. "Yes," I said before she finished explaining the details. Meanwhile, Belmar Industrial was collapsing. I didn't seek out this information, but news travels fast in manufacturing circles. Suppliers talk to each other. Without Roberto's precision components, Belmar couldn't fulfill their production commitments. They tried finding replacement suppliers, but nobody could match the quality or delivery reliability. Their machinery started failing inspections. Clients began canceling contracts and demanding refunds. The company's reputation in the industry tanked. Trade publications that had featured them positively started writing critical analyses. What happened to Belmar Industrial became a cautionary tale about the importance of supplier relationships. Financially, they were hemorrhaging money. Their main production line was supposed to generate $40 million in revenue that year. Instead, it brought massive losses, canceled orders, and legal disputes with angry clients. Brad tried desperately to save himself. He fired other coordinators in the department, restructured reporting lines, made promises about fixing everything, but the damage was irreversible. I heard through industry contacts that Brad attempted to contact Roberto one final time, offered double the original contract value, guaranteed payment terms, practically begged for a second chance. Roberto's response was simple. "You had the best international coordinator in the business. You called him a loser and abandoned him overseas. Why would I trust your word now?" 8 months after that text message in the Mexico City hotel lobby, Belmar Industrial filed for bankruptcy protection. Their parent company sold off the assets in pieces. The entire operations division was shuttered permanently. Brad lost his job along with his reputation in the industry. When potential employers contacted references, they heard about how he'd mismanaged supplier relationships and destroyed a $15 million partnership through poor leadership. I didn't celebrate when I heard about his downfall. I didn't feel vindictive satisfaction. I just felt grateful that I'd found my way out before the ship sank. A year after everything changed, Titan Industrial opened their new regional headquarters in Austin. They invited families to the grand opening. I brought Cameron with me. "Did you really help build all this, Dad?" he asks. Looking around at the modern facility, "I helped connect the right people," I said. Roberto's family in Mexico, suppliers across the Americas, manufacturers who take pride in their craftsmanship. "That's pretty impressive," Cameron said with genuine pride in his voice. "It pays well enough that your college fund is looking solid," I said. His face broke into a grin. "Really? Like I can actually go wherever I get accepted?" "Really," I said. "You can chase whatever future you want." That night on the flight back to Houston, Cameron fell asleep with his head on my shoulder. I looked at his peaceful face and thought about how much had changed since that devastating text message. A year ago, I was stranded in Mexico City with $47, reading words that called me a loser after 15 years of dedicated service. Today, I have a career that values my expertise, international relationships built on mutual respect, and enough financial security to give my son real choices about his future. Most importantly, I learned something crucial about self-worth and professional relationships that I want to share with you. Cameron is 17 now. He knows this story, and he's learned something important from it. Dad, he told me recently, you taught me that sometimes the best thing you can do is refuse to save people from their own bad decisions. Maybe he's right. Maybe walking away from toxicity and letting people face the consequences of their choices is the most powerful thing you can do. Thank you for listening to my story. If this meant something to you, if it reminded you that your experience has value and you deserve respect in your workplace, then remember this. When someone shows you who they really are through their actions, believe them. And if they treat your expertise like it's worthless while benefiting from everything you've built, maybe it's time to let them discover just how much they'll struggle without you. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's simply refusing to save someone from themselves.